Namaste everyone. So thank you for watching this video. This video has been made with the purpose of understanding the importance of Sanskrit, okay, and why it is so very important, as a tool to become a good astrologer. Okay. Now, to become a good astrologer, you need to be, they say that you need to be possessed by Jyotirvidya. Okay, so all forms of vidya, they are metaphored as a feminine. Okay, and Jyotirvidya is no different. So it says that ancient Jyotish texts say that to become a good to become a good astrologer or a good Jyotishi, you need to be possessed by Her Majesty Jyotirvidya. Okay, and for that possession to happen, all right, for that possession to happen by this Jyotirvidya, we will require some amount of preparation in order to in order to become fit receptacles for Jyotirvidya. Okay, in the olden times, this preparation was traditionally accomplished by asking the students to memorize one of Jyotish texts. Okay, and all forms of Jyotish texts, whether you call it the Brahat Parashara Hora Shastra or the Phaladipika or the Brahat Jataka or Varaha Mihira, these are all incarnations of the Jyotirvidya. Okay, and while no book can transmit the Jyotirvidya to a reader, these texts, they can certainly help to prepare the ground in which Jyotirvidya can later be planted, okay, and nourished as well. All right. So what happens is that this daily repetition of a text's inspired Sanskrit poetry creates conditions within one's mind into which the inherent spirit of the text can be infused by a guru's commentary. Okay, so that is the reason why these things, they are best learned under the tutelage of a guru. Okay, and simple linear logic in which principles come first and deductions follow is not very useful when it comes to comprehending a vidya. Because why? Because the seers and the sages who developed these forms of vidyas, they employed an entirely different mode of thinking. Okay, so they, just to quote the Santillana, okay, just to quote the Santillana, so I quote, what he says is that they thought rather in terms of what we might call a fugue, okay, in which all the notes cannot be constrained into a single melodic scale, in which one is plunged directly into the midst of things and must follow the temporal order created by their thoughts. Okay, so you can see this in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Bhagavad Gita is not essentially a book; it is a song. It is a celestial song. But because the divine sings it through Krishna as the medium, so we call it as the song of the divine. Okay, Bhagavad means the divine, and Gita means the song. Okay, and other forms of Gita, even if you look at the Ganesha Gita, if you look at the Devi Gita, these are all songs. Okay, right? And probably the most essential condition for becoming a capable Jyotishi, okay, is to learn how to think in this holistic non-linear way. Okay, now we are all trained in the in the Western mode of thinking. We are all products of the Macaulayan education system. So it is it this thinking, this ability to think in a non-linear way becomes very, very difficult for those who have been who have been taught in English medium schools, who have been under this Macaulayan system. Okay, so that is the reason it was very much recommended that in the that if you want to learn Jyotish, you have to learn it under a guru in a gurukul. Okay, and because it is also very difficult to teach or to write non-linearly, it is simply impossible to to square the circle. Okay, so what I mean by squaring the circle is that the books of on Jyotish, which are written in modern languages, for example in English, in Hindi, okay, those books will always be imperfect, and those imperfections will always be inevitable. Okay, so the reason why the main reason why Jyotish texts are always written in Sanskrit is that Sanskrit helps to felicitate holistic thought. Okay, and the ancient rishis, the seers, they taught that Sanskrit's sounds are very sacred. Sanskrit is an energy based language. Okay, and when Sanskrit is properly spoken in the right swara with the right chandas. Okay, so when Sanskrit is spoken with the right swara, with the right chandas, in the right way as taught by the guru, what it does is that it speaks directly to the soul of living creatures. Okay, transmitting right? Transmitting an universal meaning which does not depend on the composition or lyrics. Okay, it is similar to, how music can go beyond boundaries, right? You see many, just go to YouTube and search the most popular songs in Arabic, and you'll see that most of the people around the world have heard an Arabic song. Or suppose there is a song in a say in the Greek language, and you'll see that most of the people have heard that song despite not knowing what the lyrics is, right? So, just like music has a universal meaning, so Sanskrit also has a universal meaning that does not, that is independent of its composition or independent of its lyrics. Okay, and because the essence of the Vedas is believed to be transferred to the listener when Vedic hymns are recited correctly. Okay, the Vedas, the Vedas must be studied vocally in their original Sanskrit, if they are to be truly understood. Okay, just to give you an example, suppose you are learning the sound of the rain from the guru. The guru is teaching you the sound of the rain. Now, if the sound of the rain is written down somewhere in some way, it will differ, because maybe I will hear it as tap tap tap. Someone will hear it as tip tip tip. Someone will hear it as something very differently. Okay, so that is the reason the Vedas are meant to be studied vocally. Okay, and because the Vedas are meant to be studied vocally, so the limbs of the Vedas, such as Jyotish and Ayurveda, which is of course the Indian traditional medical system, these are also meant to be studied vocally. Okay, other languages like English in the modern times or Hindi, they may convey the theoretical meaning of these vidyas, but only Sanskrit captures and conveys their quintessence. Okay, and anyone who wishes to become a master Jyotishi must eventually be possessed by Sanskrit. Okay, and although theoretical or book learning can be helpful, Sanskrit like Jyotish can be learned orally from a competent teacher. Just to give you a short tip as we end this video, try to pronounce the names of the planets, of the signs, using the Sanskrit term. Okay, so instead of calling the planet as Mars, try to call it as Mangala. Instead of calling it as Saturn, try to call it as Shani. Okay, similarly, instead of calling it as Aquarius, try to call it as Kumbha. Okay, instead of calling it as Cancer, try to call it as Kark. So these are the small ways in which you can ensure that that the chart starts speaking to you, the planets start speaking to you, the signs start speaking to you when you are reading or interpreting the chart. Okay, so that's it from me in this video. Kindly leave your valuable comments as feedback, like the content, share the content. This really helps the YouTube algorithm to to make this video available to other enthusiasts as well. And please join the the 1-year Vedic Astrology Basic Foundation course, which I'm currently teaching. We are in class 4. We have reached class 4, or rather we have completed class 4. So if you want to learn more, then kindly ping me on WhatsApp so that I can add you to the group of students. Okay, so see you again in another video. Okay, if you want a consultation or a discussion regarding your chart, you're most free to ping me at the at the number that is provided in the description box. All right, thank you everyone. Om Gurave Namah.